Welcome to Momentum Magnet, a podcast to inspire your growth. I'm Karen Morales, and your host in helping you find ways to make positive changes for your business, health, relationships, and life. We always have a path to a happier ending, so let's get started today. Hello, and welcome to our second installment in our Comeback Stories Summer. Today, I'm so excited to introduce Monica Vallejo. She's a weight loss mentor and founder of Unstoppable Living. It's an online community that empowers career-driven women and stay-at-home moms to improve their lives by achieving their health and fitness goals. Monica has done some incredible things in her fitness journey. She's helped women achieve double and triple digit weight loss by releasing the yo-yo dieting mentality and building a healthier relationship with food. Her focus on transformation came from her own comeback story, and it's about building on your insides out. She helps women feel confident in the body they live in, and from there, they're more likely to achieve their goals. She's a Latina mom of three who's also obsessed with finding new places to eat tacos, aren't we all? And enjoys diving into personal development. Welcome, Monica. How are you today?
I am so excited to be here, Karen. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm psyched that you're here. We all love a great comeback story. And Monica and I first met in the entrepreneurial world, involved in a few different businesses where our paths crossed. And since we met professionally, we were able to meet at a large conference about 2 years back, and we connected personally. And I have been watching her social media presence blossom, as well as her amazing health transformation for 2 years now. So I'm so excited to have her here and really dive into the details.
Thank you. It's been a journey, and I don't think the journey ever stops, but I am excited. It's been amazing how we just our paths cross, and here we are.
I know, we're here today. So, given that we're on our focus, and right now we're recording right before the 4th of July holiday, so you'll be listening to this after the holiday weekend, but it's always good for me to ground myself in some health mantras before I go into vacation mode. So thank you for agreeing to do this, even though we're approaching a long weekend. But let's talk a little bit about how health has been a red thread in your life, Monica. As we talk about people's comeback stories, one of the things I'm doing with a lot of guests is figuring out what was that moment in their life that sort of shook them to their core to give them the place to draw from to really start this comeback trajectory. And for you, you were a mom with 3 kids when you went through a pretty hard divorce and separation. Can you talk a little bit about that time in your life and how it pushed you to start thinking about health as your calling?
Yes, of course. So I have been overweight on and off my entire life. I started as a child who was on the heavier side. I think I had an unhealthy relationship with food most of my life, especially like growing up. Grew up in South America, grew up in the coast of Ecuador. We have access to a lot of things that are carbs and starch and things like that. So I think it started there. But at the same time, I just believe that I just never saw myself as being someone who was healthy or who was fit. As a mom, I was in the middle. I had 3 children, and I was in a marriage that I didn't know my ex-husband was living a double life. So it was a failed marriage. Then I would say, Karen, that was the pivotal moment. That was the moment where the rumble happened. The moment that you go to bed with someone that you love and you care, and overnight your life completely changes. At that moment, I was borderline obese. I had been told by doctors that I needed to do something about it. But it wasn't until I found out that now I was going to be a single parent, a sole provider for my children, that I decided to do something about it. So that's where it all began. As life was unfolding, as life was crashing, as a marriage was had just failed, that's where it begins.
Wow. There is a lot in that story. And I want to stop there for a minute because it's very interesting. I said the same thing to myself when my own relationship sort of dissolved overnight. I was having some issues in my own body prior to that time. And I've often gone back and asked myself, is there a knowingness in your body sometimes that maybe doesn't catch up with your head? And when you have that defining moment where reality is sort of thrust in front of you, where it cannot be ignored anymore, sometimes it also becomes a wake up call to deal with the issues in your own body and soul. Did you have a moment or a reckoning like that as well?
I did, but I do feel now when I look back, I do think that we have um, the calls. It's like the red flags. We do see them, but we are in such a comfortable life or something that we have decided to accept as life as it is, that there is, if we're in comfort, there's no reason for us to undo whatever we have at the moment in marriage, in life, in a career. So I think you see it, but you ignore the signs. So when life gets you to a pain point, that's when the reckoning happens.
And the change comes, which I
Yes.
think is really important. So I think as we've been walking through some of these comeback stories with different folks, there's always been that tension point, right? It wasn't a kind of slow drip for change. Usually people had a precipitous moment where things kind of boom, slammed in front of them, and it made change the only way through and forward. So you
There's
woke
no
up one morning and you said, wow, this relationship and life as I know it for myself and my three kids is different. And my body is probably not in the place where I would want it to be. So, what did you do with what probably felt like a lot of big challenges all at the same time?
The scariest thing was to think that I wouldn't be around for the kids being a sole provider. I feel like everyone needs to know why they're doing what they're doing in anything. Why are they going after to that big, challenging, scary goal in front of you? I didn't know that I wanted to lose so much weight. I didn't know this would and lead me into fitness and become passionate about helping other women. I just wanted to make a change and stay around for the kids. That was so important to me. And that's how it all started.
It's interesting because as I talk through a lot of these comeback stories and some guests that are coming up in future episodes, I see a trend in a lot of the women. They start with a statement that sort of ignited their life change that usually revolves around themselves and others. Whereas a lot of the men that I've interviewed, it's really a self fulfilling need or desire that pushed them into change, which is very interesting. I know I have the same story. When I left my corporate job and founded my own business, it was because I needed to do it for a variety of reasons for my children and myself. But it's interesting to hear that from women. So as you looked at these babies, or they weren't babies, they were, school age to middle teens, right?
Yes.
And you said, okay, how did you start picking up those pieces in the early days and deciding where to focus first?
I think the big focus and what I focus around is nutrition. Everyone believes that for weight loss, we need to exercise so many hours. But the truth is, a busy career woman, a busy stay at home mom with three little kids under the age of like 7 years old, Where does she find the time to exercise and to get into our exercise regimen? Is it possible? Absolutely. I've seen it. I know I work with people that have done it. However, it's building that healthy relationship. One of the things that I have found, Karen, is like the same relationship we have with the people around us is the same relationship we have with the things that sometimes lead us to like certain addictions, like food addiction and stuff like that. So sometimes it's an unhealthy one. And it's building that trust and that relationship with your body and with the nutrition portion of it to start seeing change. The first approach was like, what am I eating? What is it that keeps, it keeps pounding on my body, like it keeps changing my body. So what is it that I'm numbing? What is it that I am not dealing with? And where is this coming from? So that was the approach. Nutrition. To me, it's nutrition.
Nutrition, but through the bigger question of the why. Why am I picking things that maybe are not, that I know are not healthy for me? The 5 bags of Doritos, not that you ever ate 5 bags of Doritos, but we all know that's not good for us, right? It doesn't take a degree in nutrition to know. But at the same time, a lot of us will use these tactics to self-numb. So if you are recognizing in this conversation that you have some of those patterns, what's the first way to kind of peel back the layers and get to why you may be doing it?
Finding a way to deal with your emotions in a healthy manner. Mm-hmm. That's where I would say it's the first step. Acknowledging that you tend to gravitate towards food when things are stressful around the house, when you are not meeting deadlines, when work is long hours. That I would say is like, how do I find a healthy way? And it doesn't have to be difficult. Sometimes it's calling a friend. Sometimes it's just taking a long bath. It's like,
so instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to eat the 5 scoop sundae, you freeze and stop and say, what am I feeling?
Yes.
Why am I upset?
What am I about to do? When you reach for the freezer and open, you see that any brand of ice cream in front of you, you're about to take the scoop. It's like, what am I doing? What am I repressing right now? Am I tired? Am I angry? Am I lonely? There's like all these different emotions that are behind our actions when it comes to food. Now, I do want to make this clear. This happens to someone who has had like an unhealthy relationship with food, who tries to, we're talking about double and triple digits of weight loss. So it's not your average, I want to lose 5 to 10 pounds. It's not. It's a pattern that you have been building over and over again. And it has to do with the relationship we have with food.
So when you were using food as an unhealthy coping mechanism at your highest weight, how many extra pounds had you personally put on using food as a coping mechanism?
Up to 75 at some point.
That's amazing.
75 pounds.
And for people listening to this story and identifying with that struggle and maybe living it themselves at this exact moment, you're here today to say that those 75 pounds are
gone. I evicted them.
They are gone. And, I just saw her getting ready for a vacation recently, posting the most adorable bikini from Target on her Instagram feed. So I can vouch that Monica is in extremely great shape, and she has a workout routine that it feels, from the way that you present yourself, that you truly love. It lights you up.
Yes. I remember when we were first talking about doing this, one of the questions that you said to me is like, what's a tip? Like, find something that ignites your heart, your spark, your energy. Not all workouts work for everybody. Yeah. And this is why people give up. This is why people stop. But if you find joy in dancing, if you find joy in running, if you find joy behind cycling, swimming, just moving your arms and creating energy. I think you and I will agree that regardless if you moved your arms just up and down and start smiling with a big smile in your face, you're creating energy. That energy is moving through your body. You are immediately shifting your mindset, and all of a sudden that is movement. Whatever movement brings you joy, I guarantee you it will give you results.
Absolutely. I think that's the key for any positive routine in your life, whether it's fitness or a business routine or an organizational tip. You have to find structures that work for you, that you don't hate doing. I think when I look back at some of my my failed routines in life, it was because I was trying to force myself to do something that wasn't really natural to my tendencies. I know for me with diet plans, the ones that are more flexible tend to work better for my constitution. Like I'm much better at sticking to an intermittent fasting routine than I am to a very detailed what you can and can't eat, ketogenic measuring macros sort of diet plan. I mean, I can't stick to that. That's way too prescriptive. I don't like rules. So I think what you're saying about exercise is really key. Now you do a lot of workouts in your home.
Yes.
And I do a lot of workouts in my home. I use a Peloton because I need someone to tell me what to do. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do for your at-home workouts?
So I have partnered with a company that has created the workouts for us, and it's implementing the workouts on your lifestyle. I choose home, number one, because I am a single mother. I have 3 children, and I'm always on the run. I am always trying to accomplish things. So my time is limited where I have to fulfill, pour into my cup, and working out at home works for me. Some workouts require minimum equipment. Other workouts are a little more complex. But the ones that I work with is like you can do them at the gym, in the park, or home. It's completely up to you. Like you choose the scenery and then you go with it.
That's the best. So let's talk a little bit about the types of clients that you work with. I mean, I love that you focus on the people really needing the more dramatic comeback. So you're really a weight loss guru for mostly women. And I think occasionally you've worked with men, but mostly women who have 50 plus more pounds to lose. Talk a little bit about what their shared mindset is and how you help them feel good in their bodies so that they want to start grabbing and reaching for healthier habits.
Someone who has more than, I would say, 40 pounds to lose comes to me with a history of failed diets. And I love that you said that you prefer not to have a regiment when it comes to calculating macros, because I'll be honest, I've never calculated macros in my life. I think that takes too much effort, and I don't think I would have been able to lose the amount of weight that I have if I had to do all that homework. Simplicity, a woman that comes, or someone in general, someone who comes with such a big goal is because they have tried different things before, and they come with not believing that they can do it. I think weight loss, it's a mindset shift. Mm-hmm. It's truly a mindset shift. You have to understand, what have I believed about myself, about my worth, about my body, and what is the truth. That's where we start. It's nutrition. Yes, nutrition is important, but it is about the beliefs that you have about yourself before we begin. So that's where we start working.
And are you finding that most of the people that come to you really have some limiting beliefs about their self self-worth? Do they believe that their identity is really that of someone who doesn't have maybe or isn't living up to their most healthy potential?
Yes, there is actually an exercise that I like to do with my community. And I like to ask them for the labels that they have created for themselves and the labels that the people that love them have loved them, parents, partners, friends, what labels have they used to identify themselves? And that's usually where you find the answer, you know? People create a relationship with being overweight, and we have to separate that. We have to divorce that to be able to move forward. It is undoing, unlearning, before you can actually believe that you can do something different.
That's really interesting. Is there any commonality you see with people? What is the role that self-identity of being overweight plays in their lives? How does that usually serve them? Because when you look at that very objectively, you think, how can that feel good, right? How can that feel good to feel judged? But is there any sort of commonality as to why people adapt that identity?
To hide, to play small, to people please,
To be safe.
to be safe, to not be seen and step into your full power. So I am going to say this: most people who carry extra weight, they're really, really powerful inside, but they have been afraid to unleash that which they have within. And it's a beautiful thing, Karen. It's a beautiful thing to see because they're still in the cocoon. And most of us, and I am sure that anyone that you could interview here that has to do with fitness would tell you they see it in them, and it's just sending the message that we believe in them until they believe in themselves.
That is such a more powerful identity to look at someone who maybe isn't living up to their full healthful potential and say, you're not an unhealthy person. You're not lazy. Instead, you're protecting yourself in this cocoon, and we can help you break free to become that butterfly, to be that, to unleash the power within yourself. That truly is beautiful. And I don't think I've ever heard a weight loss coach say that.
I mean, someone saw it in me. It wasn't in the health and fitness industry. Someone saw it in me. And that person, hire the mentor, invest in yourself, hire the mentor. The mentor saw it in me. And this is the reason why I ended up doing what I'm doing today, because she saw my potential when I couldn't see myself. And I'm so glad. And so now I vow to really get to know my clients before I work with them. One of the things is I like to know, unpeel the onion and really know, is what I have a fit for you? Because I want you to have a complete transformation from the inside out. And the only way that you get to do that, it's by knowing someone or knowing a little bit more behind the story of someone.
That's beautiful. Do you find there's ever a limiting mindset that makes it really hard to help somebody create this type of drastic change? Is there a type of client that could come to you and tell you their story and you could say you're not actually ready to peel back the onion?
Yes, there are people that need to start with this smaller scale. So I think everyone is ready. I think that you are looking for the answers if you are reaching out. The fact that you have tried more than one diet, the fact that you have paid for a gym membership for a year and went 3 times, okay, you are seeking the change.
Yep.
So when is someone ready? Someone is ready when they're tired of trying again.
I find that this is a very different problem, but I found a correlation when we were working with my marketing agency with clients, that most people can come to you with a business and say, I've got a marketing challenge, whether it's I have a retention issue or I want to drive more sales, or I'm having issue with my, content creation. There's always something that can be improved. What I noticed as a correlation between those that were successful and those who aren't were the ones that were stuck but had more questions and more probing and more sort of suspectness about the solutions, were the ones who are truly not ready. Because the ones who are truly ready come to you and say, I need to make a change. I want my business to grow. This is what my goal is. Show me what to do. The ones who aren't ready come to you and say, this is my problem. I want my business to grow. Show me what to do. And I'm going to question every single thing you tell me, even though you have a track record of doing this many, many, many times.
They are not ready to make a change. They're not ready to make a change for marketing, for anything. They're not ready to make a change.
So if you're really questioning the mentors in your life, and I'm not saying that, I mean, all of us who have hired a mentor have asked a tough question time or time again, but usually we're asking a tough question around our personal situation and how it will help us get to the next level versus questioning their knowingness or their track record in general. I think that there's a real difference there. I mean, if you're just asking hard questions for the sake of asking hard questions, it's almost like you're trying to validate staying stuck.
It's the ability. I think you're questioning the ability of the professional or the guru or the coach. You're questioning their ability. Go look back at their track, you know.
Yeah, and when you question the ability of the coach, of course, you need to do that a bit in the beginning of any relationship. Right. But at the same time, you're hiring someone to get you there faster.
Yeah.
And if you're going to work with a coach or a mentor, you have to trust. Just like you have to trust yourself that you're able to do it, you have to trust them to be able to help you get there. And laying down that sword certainly does help everybody make progress more quickly.
Absolutely.
So if someone's listening right now and they've identified with the fact that they need to make this breakthrough, and like you said, have a good reason to do it. They want to be around longer. They want to be able to jog a 5K. They want to feel comfortable in a bathing suit over the summer, whatever that is. How would you go about helping them take those first couple of steps?
The first couple of steps is I like to take weight loss, the big elephant, one chunk at the time, depending on, what the goal is. But the first thing, it's just to make a commitment. To make a commitment, this is not 3 months. It's been 5 years, Karen. It's been 5 years of getting to know myself, trusting my body, getting to know what foods work for me. So what I would say is make a commitment of change.
Let's stop there for a minute, because I think that piece is often missing from the fitness industry. And I think it's also often missing from any sort of marketing around transformation. Too often we try to oversell speed. And I think what you just said is Monica made her personal transformation from obese. I think you used that word.
Yes,
so I did. From obese to extremely fit. And it took 5 years. But over that time, this has become part of who she is. Monica now identifies and says, I am a fit and healthy and sporty female. That's your identity these days, wouldn't you say?
Yes. I'm healthy. I'm strong. You might not see, every fitness guru looks different, but, you have to challenge to yourself to be strong, but it's not going to happen overnight. And I want to stress that not everything works for everybody. So again, going back to unpeeling the onion and figuring out what works. So not immediate gratification, but figuring out what works for every single person. It's where we need to start. Foods, habits, routines.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Beliefs. Yes.
That's beautiful. I spoke to another fitness professional in a previous podcast, and his mantra to me was go slow to go fast.
See, I think we're on, that's wonderful. We're onto something here. You are onto something. You're inviting people who have the same. It's steady. It's a steady. You see success as you take one step in front of the other one.
Because it's about implementing a change and then making it constant so you don't think about it anymore. And once that sticks, working on the next piece to move you forward.
100%.
I mean, it's the same in marketing and in business. I think when you try to do everything at once, that's where the wheels come off the bus, and that's where things tend to break. You break your team, you break your operations, you break your success record because you can't keep your eyes on so many moving pieces at the same time. It's why franchises work so well, right? They have a templated system and they can find and replace any employee to do it for them because they know what to expect and what needs to happen. And it's the same with your fitness and your diet. I think what Monica is saying is consistent for everyone in my life that is truly in extremely good health. They have a way of eating. They have a method to working out. And no matter what happens in their life, 90% of the time, they stick to it.
There has to be flexibility too, because where the flexibility is where the growth happens.
Talk a little bit about that.
Where the flexibility is, I feel that as someone loses their weight, and I'm sure that when something is not working in a business, you kind of become aware of it. So if you are flexible to change, if you are flexible to go back to the drawing board, say, and identify what is it that it's not working right now, or how could we be better as a company, as a health and fitness, depending on what your goals are. So I'm flexible to look for change, and I'm willing to do things differently to find more freedom. So when we start in the weight loss program, we go through a detox process. That's like the first step. I need to identify what foods cause you inflammation, what's keeping the weight stuck, the way that you're eating. So like you go through a detox. That is flexibility. You have to kind of go left before you go straight or go right.
Yep.
It's the same with business. I feel like if we constantly keep going to the drawing board, that is remaining open, teachable, flexible.
Yep, for sure. That really makes sense to me. So when you're working on clients that usually have, 50 or 100 pounds to lose, how does that usually shape up over the course of the year? How do you keep them motivated when you know that the weight loss journey is, a long process, and we are so hardwired as humans and as Americans to want results yesterday?
The first thing I tell them is the motivation, they need to throw it out the door on day one. We're going to stack small habits. We're going to hold on to very small habits that we're going to stack day by day, month by month. I like the word zooming out. Zoom out takes away from the instant gratification. If you look at weight loss from day one, when you first come into the door and you step on that scale and you tell me, Monica, I need to lose 100 pounds. By month 2, if you zoom out, maybe in the last week, you only lost 1.5 pounds. Can we zoom out and take a look at your trajectory?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the gratification starts to build. We work with the mindset of a gratification in a long term rather than a short term. And we celebrate non-scale victories. I am a huge believer of non-scale victories. How are you feeling? How are you sleeping? How are you showing up in the world?
Mm-hmm.
Are you more confident? Are you friendlier? There's so many things that go with that. I see the transformation from the inside out. It's magical. I love what I do.
Without giving any personal details from any of your clients, could you sort of anonymize someone and talk a little bit about one of those really impactful success stories and maybe how they achieve some non-scale victories?
100%. I have someone like you said that. I know exactly who I'm going to talk about. Young woman, Mary, and she gives a lot to the world in her community, in what she does. No one would have ever thought that she lacked of confidence because she's such a powerhouse. Yet she felt unworthy and lack of confidence in her body because of the way she looked. So we started working in November of 2019, which is, I'm going to tell you, when the holidays are around, I got to double up of work because there's a lot that's happening around food, a lot around parties and things like that. To this day, she has lost 65 pounds. She probably is closer to 70 as we are recording this. But I'm going to say her non-scale victories is has decided to go after and teach what she has learned.
Awesome.
So she has decided to go out there. She has decided that she believes in herself and what she knows and how it has changed her life enough that she wants other women who are in her range of weight to go out there and help them. And that's beautiful.
It is. It is. And I think that's when you really know you've made the transformation and come full circle, right? Learn it, practice it, teach it.
Absolutely.
Really the most beautiful part, I think, of every comeback story is you actually then go out into the world and try to help others achieve the same beautiful results that you've gotten on your own.
Karen, there's not enough Karens or Monicas out there, so they have to be replicated.
Yeah. There's never a market, surplus of people trying to help others make positive change. Okay, so if somebody is listening and they're feeling this burning desire to get started, what would be a great fitness tip that they could start using today or tomorrow to get a little more movement in their life?
Wake up 10 minutes earlier. That's it. Wake up 10 minutes earlier and commit to moving your body. I am not talking about any extreme sport workout. Do some stretches. If you feel that when you wake up every morning, your body is really, really stiff, it's lacking of movement. That's it. A few stretches here and there, maybe pop some yoga. So there's so many avenues for us to have access right now to workouts, to any kind of videos, especially during this time. So go ahead and find out what moves your body. Some jumping jacks, if you're able to do them. If not, some stretches. If you're not able to do stretches, how about some crunches? How about some dancing? Put your headphones, don't wake anybody up, and just do some movement. Dance a little bit. Find it's body movement is what fuels the soul.
I mean, Monica's right. There really is no excuse in this day and age that you cannot afford a gym or a fitness program because everything is available on the internet, on YouTube for free.
Yes, absolutely.
You could probably have a streaming brand new workout 24 hours a day for the next 5 years and not run out of free content. So there are no excuses that your gym isn't open or you can't, create a home gym in your tiny studio apartment, or you can't go outside and take a walk. It's all right there for the taking.
Now, if it's for nutrition, because I do have to say, if the goal is nutrition, if I am talking to the people who really, really want to change their nutrition, is start taking a look of what you're eating every day. What are the habits? It's easy to identify. It's easy to know how many can of sodas we're having or how much orange juice we're drinking. It's easy to identify what are the things that we usually do and then start there. Start cutting back, maybe, more water. I love to say hands on the wheel, just to have your hands around the water bottle and just make sure that to drink your water before you have any other sweets.
That's beautiful. So for those of you struggling with weight or with fitness or feeling like you're not necessarily in the best shape of your adult life, or maybe you're really far from it, Monica has sort of showed us how it is possible to wake up one day and decide permanently to change that identity, to unleash your power within and really bring out the beauty of a different story. So if someone is inspired by what you've said today, how could they get in contact with you to try to get some health coaching?
Of course, I would say go and find me on Instagram. It's the best way to get in touch with me. My Instagram handle is Mon, MON _VALLEJO. They can find me there. There's my contact information. There's a free meal plan for anyone who wants to start. And that's the best way to connect with me right now.
Amazing. And I know Monica often does reset challenges and some of these cleanses. So if you're feeling inspired, maybe this is the first day of your own weight loss comeback. So thank you, Monica, for speaking with us today. I love hearing these stories of transformation. What we're trying to do this summer after a really hard spring is touch on all different themes and topics so that people can hear those success stories so that they can start crafting their own. And it was really wonderful to hear from you today. So thank you so much for joining us.
Karen, thank you so much. Thank you for having me, but thank you for opening your community. And for anyone who's listening right now, is like, you get to determine how the story ends. And if that was the only thing that you heard today and made an impact in your life, I want you to know that you have full power to decide how the story ends.
There are not better words to end on. So thank you everyone for listening today, and reach out to Monica for that health transformation. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Momentum Magnet. We're here every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time to share inspiring comeback stories. We want to hear your reviews and love getting your subscriptions on iTunes and Spotify. For show notes and past episodes, visit momentummagnet.com. I'm Karen Morales, keynote speaker, writer, and founder and CEO of Marketing Magnet, a fast-growing marketing agency for purpose-driven companies. Whether you are a business needing an agency or if you are looking for weekly tips to get ahead, sign up at marketing-magnet.com to receive our weekly inspiration on getting more in your life and business.